Hey, I'm Marianne. Please like and subscribe to MSA. I'm about to share a story about the challenges life has thrown at me. My parents, especially my dad, weren't what some would call expressive and loving. They constantly fought and seemed to spend more time hating each other than anything else. Dad always had the TV blaring. The noise kept me up at night, so I often resorted to sleeping with headphones on. I knew he wasn't a bad person. He just had some annoying habits and seemed to enjoy annoying Mom. Mom was kind. She did her best to be the best mom. She'd surprise me with toys and candies. My favorite place was our treehouse, which Mom built for me. It was my escape. I loved spending time there with my bestie Joy.
Marianne, everything will be okay. My mom got me 2 dolls and I want to give you one. Let's grab some ice cream.
Joy was my best friend since kindergarten. She always knew how to cheer me up, sharing her toys with me. We were inseparable, so much so that some people at school mistook us for twins. Plus, Joy had an amazing voice. Sometimes she sang to me until I fell asleep in the treehouse. Joy's family seemed perfect. Her mom was a successful fashion designer, and her dad was a police officer. Sometimes I found myself wishing I was part of her family, but I'd immediately feel guilty knowing my mom loved me. When I was 16, my gymnastics coach said I should compete in another state. Excited, I asked my parents for money to go. Dad, busy with his motorbike, brushed me off.
Wish I could, honey, but I gotta paint the bike. It's my pride and joy.
I could tell Mom wanted to help by the way she looked at me, giving me the "I wish I could help you, dear" look. And that day, I made up my mind to do something. I grabbed my dad's motorbike keys, thinking I could ride to the competition myself. But since I didn't really know how to drive, I ended up crashing into a fire hydrant. Dad was furious about his damaged bike, but before he could say anything, Mom intervened. "Don't you dare yell at her." Mom then hugged me and handed me some money. "Here, take this money. I've been saving it for quite a while now. I love you, babe." I hugged Mom tightly. I participated in the gymnastics competition and took second place. On the way back, my coach had some really bad news. "Your mom got into an accident while buying ingredients for your favorite apple pie. She's in the hospital now, in a coma." I couldn't say a word. I just stayed quiet all the way home. When I got back, Dad hugged me and told me not to worry, saying Mom would be okay. Later, at dinner, I asked Dad something tough. "Dad, can I stay with Joy's family for a bit? It's not that I don't like being with you, but I feel happier there. They really care about me."
Sure, if that makes you happy. I'll talk to Joy's parents.
And Joy's family was really welcoming. Joy's mom used to say, "We're glad to have you, dear. You're like my second daughter from now on." That's how I ended up living with my best friend's family. They even gave me my own room. Joy's parents were wonderful. They looked after me and made me feel like I was their daughter. Even though her dad wasn't always home, I loved them with all my heart and thought of them as family. Joy and I even got closer. We'd spend all night talking or playing video games. I still saw my dad from time to time, and he seemed to be improving, becoming nicer.
I'll keep getting better until you say you want to come back and live with me.
Well, that might take some time, but yeah, keep your hopes up. I smiled and gave him a hug. One day, as I was walking around the house, I found a room full of beautiful clothes. Curious, I started trying them on. Joy's mom walked in on me. "You look beautiful! I've always hoped to share my wardrobe with a daughter." Just then, Joy walked in, and her mom invited her to join. "Joy, darling, come try on some clothes too."
I don't want to.
Soon, I got really close to Joy's mom. We hung out a lot, and I even helped her out at photo shoots, sometimes modeling for her. One day, I was shocked to see my picture on the cover of a big magazine. "I wish Joy liked fashion like you do. Thank you for always being here for me." I smiled and thanked her for making me feel like part of her family. But something was off with Joy. She started keeping to herself, staying in her room, and didn't want to hang out or do anything with me. When I tried talking to her, she just said,
I want to be left alone.
I was really worried about Joy's sudden change and couldn't figure out what I did wrong. I kept trying to fix things, even apologizing, but nothing worked. She sometimes even yelled at me. I had to give her space, even though it hurt a lot. One evening at dinner, Joy's mom shared some exciting news. "Marianne, your teacher called. Your college aptitude test scores were amazing. I'm so proud of you." Turning to Joy, her mom asked, "And how did yours go, honey?"
Oh, I didn't bother with it. I'm going to be a singer, so I don't need it. Maybe one of your famous friends could help produce my album?
I won't do that. I want more for you. You're going to college, and later you can decide what you want.
What? You can't make those decisions for me. I'm going to be a singer, and that's that.
As your mom, yes, I can guide you.
You can't tell me anything.
Joy, stop. Your mom's just trying to help.
You shut up. My life was better before you showed up. Go back to your miserable family and leave us alone. I hate you both.
Angry, Joy knocked all the family pictures off the shelf. After that, her behavior got worse. She began skipping school and got mad whenever someone tried to talk about what she was doing. Joy's behavior toward me got worse, turning her into what felt like a real-life villain. She constantly tried to make trouble for me, and even though her mom always ended up forgiving me, it just made Joy angrier. For example, Joy switched her unfinished homework with mine, confusing my teacher. Luckily, the teacher sorted it out. Joy made a fake social media account with my name, posting embarrassing stuff. It took a while, but I showed it wasn't me and shut it down. Joy hid a library book I borrowed, causing me to get late fees. Her mom found it later and figured out Joy's trick. Joy messed with my bike's brakes. I felt something was wrong before I rode it and stopped myself from getting hurt. This escalated one afternoon when Joy's mom was away on a business trip and her dad was away at work. Joy decided to do something drastic. She turned the backyard into a makeshift movie theater. I'm not sure showing a movie here is a good idea.
Well, it's better than having you around all the time.
The backyard quickly filled with people, the projector buzzing to life. I stayed inside, trying to avoid the chaos, and was flipping through a magazine when suddenly, someone stumbled into my room.
Oops, my bad. I was looking for the kitchen. Hey, is that a magazine about vintage cars? My dad collects them, and I've read a bunch about them. Is that the issue with the 60s muscle cars?
Yes, it is. His name was Brian. We discovered we shared a lot of interests and spent the evening chatting in the kitchen. Just as we were really connecting, the screen outside fell over with a crash. Suddenly, Joy and her mom came in.
Look, Mom, I knew it. Marianne set up this whole movie thing just to hang out with her boyfriend.
Boyfriend? That's not true. Why would I organize this party? Joy, you're my only friend here.
Then explain him being in your room. This must be your party.
Enough, Joy. I don't think Marianne would do this. But young man, it's time for you to go home, please. Joy looked so angry and stormed off. She stopped talking to me and just ignored my existence. I kept talking to Brian. Having him in my life was great. He was nice-looking and well-mannered. His family had money, and he shared his dream of becoming a doctor with me. A few days later, Joy's mom called me into the living room, where I found my dad sitting. I really care about you and loved having you here, but things with Joy are getting tough. She's feeling left out. Plus, your dad's been talking to us. He's made some changes, wants you back, and misses you a lot.
The past few months have been really tough without you. I love you and want you to come home.
I didn't say much. When I feel a lot, I find it hard to speak, but I managed to say, I'll pack my things. I moved back with Dad, and honestly, things weren't bad. He had really improved, and hanging out with him wasn't bad at all. But I ended up blocking Brian. I didn't have a strong reason to cut him off. I felt like I didn't deserve him and just needed a fresh start. A few months after finishing high school, I couldn't go to college right away. Dad didn't have the money because we had big hospital bills for Mom. So I started working as a pizza delivery person. It was tough, but I never thought about quitting. I worked really hard and finally got into college. I planned to study economics and maybe even start my own business someday. While studying, I took any job I could get. Eventually, I managed to rent a tiny apartment with a view of the city dump. It wasn't much, but it was mine. I could finally study and rest there. Dad even helped me buy a used car for my delivery job. Things were starting to get better. I kept working hard, aiming for success. I often thought about Joy and her parents, and my mom too. I missed them a lot. With exams coming up, I studied all night and worked all day. I felt unstoppable, like nothing could slow me down. But one day, while out on a delivery, I suddenly felt very dizzy, and the next thing I knew, I crashed into a tree. I was rushed to the hospital. Everything hurt, but what pained me the most was my thoughts. Why couldn't things just go right for once? I hugged my pillow and bursted into tears. Then, a young doctor came in, and I was shocked. Brian, is that really you? He recognized me too.
I always thought I'd run into the girl who broke my heart again.
Feeling embarrassed, I just looked down and stayed quiet as usual. Brian had finished medical school and was now an intern at the hospital. I apologized, and we chatted for a while and swapped phone numbers. Over time, we got closer and started dating. Brian had the kindest heart, and he even helped me with my college fees. One day, I went to the hospital to bring Brian his lunch and decided to visit Mom afterward. I entered her room, and she looked so peaceful, just like an angel. I gently kissed her forehead. Mom, I have to tell you something. I tried to replace you. I was so angry when I felt you gave up on me, so I gave up on you. I was angry at Dad too, even though the poor man was struggling without you. I used to be mad at Joy, but as I got older, I understood her and we made up. I'm friends with her mom now too. I love them, but no love can match yours. Guess what? I found out this morning I'm pregnant. I'm going to surprise Brian tonight on our date. I think he's going to propose, and I'll say yes. Mom, I'm happy, but my happiness isn't complete without you. Tears overwhelmed me, and I laid my head on her hands when suddenly I felt her hands move. Overjoyed, I ran to the doctor like a little kid, shouting, "My mommy is awake! My mommy is awake!"